This is the portion of the show where we tweet it out, so we don't do our intro just yet. But in a second, we will. Okay, how the fuck do we... Okay, there we go. Wait, that's guess. How do I get the actual link again?
Oh, look at this.
Oh, yeah, from YouTube, right? Just got to go to YouTube.
Oh, look at this guy.
And I'm going to tell you one thing. I've been searching high and low. There we go. I got it. I got the link. It's time to share it. Copy. We go into the Twitter machine.
The Twitter machine.
298. Blow. All right.
You know what I'm going to have to do too? You send me that link?
Do you need me to send it to you?
Yeah, text it to me.
I'm going to send it to you on Twitter. Yeah, Bobby Green, just like me, for real.
He was all of us, brother.
Just like me, for real, brother.
He's all of us, bro.
Damn, what the hell? How did you... What? That's crazy.
What'd I do?
You just retweeted it, but you wanted me to text you the link. Is that correct?
Of course. I just wanted you to do more work, that's all.
Gotcha, that makes sense. All right, let's fucking do the damn thing. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? You are on the sidelines with the Sideline Guys. And today, I'm joined again by my particularly pissy, particularly short-tempered, but my guy nonetheless, Sean Negron. How's it going, brother?
Oh, it's going real well. I don't know where this attitude you're coming in with, but that's all right. You know what? I'm looking forward to a good 298. I've done well with my Dynasty this year. I'm going to keep it up.
Yeah, man. I don't know what we need to do in between shows. We got to get you some tea or something. Can we get a health update? Can we get a status update on that?
Well, I'm actually sick again right now. So, but you know me, I'm always here making weight, whatever weight that is.
I love it. I love it. No matter what, the man's going to show up, which is why he's the king of excellency. But if you guys may have noticed, we've been off for a little bit, but I'm happy to be back. We're excited to talk all things 298, but most importantly, to recap a little bit because we got 2 Hellscape shows that we missed out on, right? So we're not going to do a full deep dive on these cards, but I just thought off the top, it's only right that we give you a little Dynasty update, a little Pick'em update, because even though we didn't have the show, we made sure that we kept our ducks in order, God damn it. So as of last week, we've had UFC Hellscape 8007, a beautiful event with very interesting outcomes. But to make a long story short, I finished the night 9-4 and obviously won no contest, while Sean finished the night 6-7 with 1 no contest. And that means that as of right now, I'm holding on to a very nice lead in the head-to-head pick'ems, sitting at 58% for the year so far. 29 wins, 19 losses, 2 no contests. And Sean is sitting at 54% wins on the year with 27 wins, 21 losses, and 2 no contests. On the Dynasty side of things, Sean is absolutely kicking my ass in the year of 2024, sitting at 11-8 with 1 no contest for 55% for 2024, while I am at 10-11 with 2 no contests. Funny enough, when it comes to the Big Boy Dynasty page, the Dynasty page that contains all of our Dynasty history, I'm still leading there with a nice margin, sitting at 60.67% win percentage, 57 wins, 33 losses, 2 draws, 3 no contests, while Sean is sitting at 57.6 win percentage, which is actually very good, with 57 wins, 38 losses, and 1 no contest, 2 draws. Well, wait, 1 draw, 2 no contests. Look at this guy. He's fumbled through, but he's made it nonetheless. So
I'm catching up, buddy.
as of this year, I just think it's important to mention you are very far away. So please don't do that.
Chill, chill.
You're very far away. But I think the percentages say that. But I'm catching up in the head to head. I just got to say I've been not proud of my performance since last year. So it feels good to be able to make some headway in the head to head picks. Is there anything you want to talk about before we quickly jump into UFC 298 in regards to the last two cards?
Well, first off, I would like to say that I'm actually happy with how I've done this year on the Dynasty because I started off slow last year. Now I feel like I'm starting off a lot hotter than I did the year prior, and I'm catching up to you. I know you're all about win percentage, and that'll slowly go away. And you'll soon be in this race where you'll be wondering what happened. How did he get the best of me? What's going on? What can I do? How do I cheat? I understand. So just enjoy these little moments now because I'm slowly just gonna take over both picks that we do, and I'm just kind of keeping you involved. I just don't want the depression to kind of seep in before 2025 hits. So I'm just doing everything I can. But so far it's been good. I not great on my head to heads, but I'll pick that up. We're still in February.
Man, I just love how smug you are when I've clearly had more dynasty matchups than you this season. So that's going to even out eventually. I mean, this week you already have 3 on the board. So I just love the smugness here because with that smile, shit, it looked like you didn't even believe that. But I'm excited nonetheless to jump right into our breakdown of 298. Man, we've got a lot to talk about, a lot of fun things, and a lot of things to be excited about. God damn it! So let's start off.
Well,
In the women's, okay. Go
I had
ahead.
one. I had one
Thanks for cutting
thing.
me
I
off.
had one thing to ask you because this was part of your dynasty last week, and this is actually a serious question. I wanted to ask you about the main event last week between Hermanson and Pfeiffer. What did you think of that fight? How did you feel the judges? Did they do the right decision? And how did you feel with Pfeiffer like long term now because he is on your dynasty?
Yeah, obviously that was a dynasty loss that really sucked. I just gotta
That
say,
happens.
man, this is live TV, right? You love to see it. As far as that matchup goes, okay, I'm gonna be honest. Um, whoever Joe Pfeiffer was dating, it's no longer her man, son. My boy just lost. Sad days. I will say this. Based on his style, I think a loss like this will benefit him in the future. I mean, just look at Sean Brady. What is that? Are you like tapping your leg or something?
Me? I'm not doing. I'm not
What's
even
going on over
moving.
there? All I hear is duk 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 duk. Anyway, as far as that matchup goes, I think, like I said, it's going to be good for his development and his career. But I thought it was a weird loss, if I'm being honest. I mean, rounds 1 and 2 just seemed like he had he had every answer to every question being posed, and then things just kind of fell apart, right? So can't be too mad about a loss like that. At the end of the day, I mean, felt good for the first 10 minutes. So um, yeah, shout out to Joe Pfeiffer. I'm not off the train yet. I know a lot of people are for whatever reason. I think Hermanson's very legit, and despite us talking about how he didn't have a shot, goddamn it, he pulled it off.
And
So
what do you think about Hermanson's
I'm not
future?
too down on Pfeiffer though. I the same I kind of always have, right? I feel like at the upper echelon of the division, something always kind of catches up to him. I mean, even in this fight, right? Things were not looking good, but he was able to turn it around, and obviously, durability is a skill in its own right. So, I think ultimately he's going to be around, right? He's getting older, but he's not old yet. In an olds man division, shout out to middleweight. But there's a lot of new blood coming up soon too, right? So I won't be surprised if in a couple fights we get a Bo Nickel versus Jack Hermanson bout lined up. But yeah, that's what I think about those two guys. Anything you want to say about that main event?
Well, I think it went sort of how not expected because I did expect Pfeiffer to win, but I did think it was going to be like a 3-2 brawl. I did think that Pfeiffer would gas out around round 4, but I didn't expect Hermanson to have such a dominant round 3 and overshadowing round 4 to the point where even in round 5 I thought Pfeiffer might steal it because he did come out really strong, but you saw he kind of ran out of the gas tank again around like 3 minutes left, and then Hermanson just took over again. And it was just one of those where even if you're up 2 rounds to nothing, that does not seal your fate for a victory. It does not matter, especially in a 5 round fight. And I think it's a learning curve. I think that was his first or second 5 round fight. So I think that was a humongous difference between 15 and 25 minutes. So you have veteran experience now against someone like Hermanson, and you only can learn from it. But I have one more to ask you before we get to 298. This is your boy here. You picked him in Dynasty as well, Dan Ige. What did you think of that? Is this guy goes with the nickname? You mentioned fighters getting older, but this dude, even when he gets older, he's still putting people to sleep in one punch. What'd you think of that?
Hey man, put some respect on Dan Ige's name, right? We're talking about this man getting older as if he's some ancient, riddled down guy, right? What is he, 32?
Older.
Not not at all. I mean, yeah, but that's like prime
No, it
age,
is.
right?
It is.
As
But
far
people
as
look at him like his prime is gone. His prime is past him.
hmm.
And
He's been around for a
yeah,
while, right? I think a lot of people that haven't been around the sport for a long time are used to a lot of people sort of fizzling out.
yeah.
So when they see someone get an L, it's kind of like, oh, 3 L's are gonna follow behind that one. I love Dan Ige, man. I think against certain types of matchups, man, he just looks like fucking dynamite, right? Dynamite Dan Ige. It all flows together. But yeah, that was a pretty sick knockout. I mean, what do you think about that additional shot there? Was it necessary? I didn't think it was
I
necessary.
don't think it's necessary, but I think when you're in that, like, people get upset with stuff like that. But I think when you're in that moment, like when you land that clean punch, you kind of just want to make sure of it. There have been plenty of fights where we've seen guys think they're doing a walk-off punch, and then all of a sudden they wake up when they hit the canvas. So you kind of just want to make sure. And because, him and Feely were, they've been sparring partners in the past. They're still friends. Like, obviously he didn't want to do something like that, but you have to win the fight to win the fight. Until that ref pulls you off, you gotta make sure you close it out. So I think, yeah, he definitely didn't need to do that, but I think if I were in his shoes, I would have definitely done it as well.
Yeah, you missed out on your opportunity to hit me with a. It was super necessary, but it's all good.
I'm not gonna do
I
that.
try to throw these lobs, right? I can only be CP for so
I'm
long.
5'9". I don't
When
dunk,
Blake
buddy.
when Blake Griffin, yeah, when Blake Griffin's aging out. But it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. We'll figure it out. So with that, I think it's only right that we move on to our first preliminary fight of the night at the women's flyweight division, one of our favorite divisions here on this show. Andrea Lee, the plus 165 underdog, going up against Miranda Maverick. I'll throw it up because Sean's not doing anything over there,
Wow.
but it's okay.
That's
Miranda Maverick at minus 185. My Dynasty team is involved here, as obviously in the very first week of Dynasty, I drafted Miranda Maverick. So I am excited about that pick. I think I made the right pick in regards to this matchup. This is a close fight, right? This is a fight that is admittedly closer than the odds suggest they are, in my opinion. I think if this was 2 fights ago, I might have picked Andrea Lee. Based on the trajectory of where both of these women are headed, in my opinion, I just think Miranda is settling into her skin in this division, and in the UFC in general. Been really cool to see her work her game in the last couple of fights, and like I said, just really looked like she's coming into her own here in this division. Andrea Lee, on the other hand, while I think her fights have been very fun and entertaining, I think they've been frustrating for other reasons as well. I mean, the corner banter, we could get into the neo Nazis. There's a lot of things we could get into in regards to her corner, but I think there's been a couple times where she's been kind of led astray in the midst of these battles because of the people that she has in her corner. With all due respect, once again, I'm nobody, but just based on how things played out, the advice has been a little weird, if you ask me. And I think this matchup is going to call for some slick adjustments if she's going to be able to a keep her backside off of the mat, but b be able to work her game here. So I think this is going to be a fun fight, especially stylistically. I think it's going to be up and down, sort of scrappy tumbleweed until we get our final bell here. I think this one definitely should be set to go the distance, and I feel even more comfortable picking Miranda Maverick in that case. How you feeling, Sean?
Yeah, I'm picking Miranda as well, but I honestly don't think it makes it to decision, to be honest with you. I think we get like a nice third round sub. I think if Andrea could avoid going to the ground, obviously that's easier said than done, then I think this is a better shot for Andrea. But like you said, Andrea coming off a 3-fight losing streak, if this were 2 fights ago, I would have definitely picked Andrea. I would have thought, she could have rebounded, but I think Miranda is still has some upside that I'm looking forward to seeing. I think she's hit a little bit of a skid these last like year and a half. But that fight against Priscilla, I believe it was, that was the turning point for me because I almost gave up on her and I remember even trying to dog you about it after before that fight. But it was I have this feeling with Maverick here that she's going to be able to get the takedown pretty fluently around the second round and then just be able to finish her in the third round.
I love it. I love it. And I like that it doesn't really conflict with what I had to say either too much. How do you think she would get it, right? Are we going with the submission here? Are we going with the ground and
No, that's what I
pound?
said. I said
What are we
sub. I said third round sub. I think rear
but
rear
what
naked
kind of
choke.
submission, right?
I'm
Okay,
going with a
okay.
rear
Look
naked
at this
choke.
guy.
All right, It's like
I love it.
this guy wants specifics, and if he can't get the rear naked choke, I think she flips her and it gets the arm bar. You know what? And then if she can't get that, let's go with a Kimura. You know what? Like, what else do you want from me here? All right. You know what? After that, and if you can't get the Kimura, I want the Darce choke. All right, we're gonna do everything. We're gonna practice it all.
I love it. I can't wait. I can't wait to see the ref botch all these stoppages, right? So we could get multiple arm breaks in different places. But next up, we've got an interesting fight. I'll start off by saying that Val Woodburn making his return, this time at his native 170 pounds, a plus 260 underdog going up against Oban Elliott, the Liverpudlian, right? Wait, no. Is he from Liverpool? No.
I don't think he's
No,
from
he's
Welsh,
not.
right?
He's from Wales.
Yeah.
Wales.
I always say
Yes.
Welsh.
The fucking dragon, right? The dragon. Oban Elliott minus 286. I led the dance last time, Sean. So why don't you take us on an escapade?
Ooh.
What you got at what's weight?
All right. So I think these odds are a little stretched out because of what we've seen from Val when obviously he fought Bo. So seeing that, I think if he put up more of a performance against Bo and wasn't expecting the takedown and didn't get clipped like 3 different times in a row, I think it would be a little bit closer of a fight because I do like Val here, but I'm not saying I'm picking him because I'm picking Oban here. I don't know also, by the way, if that little Twitter thing that happened with, oh, I thought he was fighting at 185, it was really 170. Was that fake? I'm assuming it was. It had to be because I think it was his trainer or something that put up saying, oh, we thought he was fighting at 185. He's got to cut to 170, and he still made it. I think he was 171 or something like that. But I like Oban here, and I like Oban because just like the previous fight, I think Oban takes him to the ground. I think it's a stand-up, honestly, for the first 6-7 minutes. But I do think Oban does eventually get him to the ground, and I think this is one where I don't see Val having an easier time getting up, and I can see Oban kind of taking this with ground control time, and also with just a lot of ground and pound. And I honestly don't see this one getting finished, but I think this is one where you could clearly tell this is like a 30-27, maybe even a 29-28 Sal D'Amato sort of judging decision there. But I still see it going to Oban's way here.
I love that you gave the shout to Sal D'Amato when Ron McCarthy is also going to be there judging these fights.
True.
So we got some interesting angles to look out for here. But for the most part, I agree with how you're feeling about this one. I think Val Woodburn has some scary power that people just kind of act like isn't there, which makes these odds even more questionable, like you said. I like Oban Elliott's pressure, and I think his systematic approach in fights. The man is really looking to dismantle you, right? And like beat the will out of you in a way that is very refreshing to watch at this division, right? And a lot of control grappling at 170, but not from Oban Elliott. I think he's someone that can do that if asked, but is really looking to do damage and finish here. So I tend to agree with you. I won't be surprised if Oban Elliott walks away with the finish, but I think a decision is a safer play, so I'm
I have
going with that as
one
well.
question for you.
Go ahead.
Do you think Val is a little too stiff on the upper body? Like, do you think he kind of stands there a little too stiff, where that's where I think one of his weaknesses play out, and it shows out a lot more for why the takedown's so easy? Because I feel like he's really stiff, and he kind of what's the word? Like he feints a lot. Like he goes for the fake a lot. If anyone's like faking the jab or faking the overhand right, he shows his hand really quickly. And I think that's where fighters kind of pick him apart. And obviously, we saw with the Bo Nickel fight. And I'm not trying to say like that's the only fight I've seen, but I feel like because he's so stiff up top, it just makes bringing him down to the ground the easiest choice. And I think that's where he gets exploited. What do you think?
Yeah, I was about to say, are you asking me a
Yeah,
question? Or are you giving me answers here? I don't know what the fuck's going on here, but um, I think that's a part of it. Shout out to Dauchia Lungiambula, right? All guys that are just traps from the ears down. I think he falls in line in some ways with him as well, as far as Dauchia has a little bit more of a judo base, which is factors into things. But I I think it's just a matter of mass, right, and weight distribution. Like when you're so top heavy in that way, I think it's just hard to maintain balance in general, let alone if someone's attacking singles and things like that. Um, I thought particularly interesting when it comes to the matchup with Bo Nickel, right? We didn't get to see a takedown attempt, let alone a takedown, right? So um, I think it's just a matter of body style, and oddly enough, I think that body type is actually very good for MMA in one way, right? I think MMA is a very chaotic sport, so having the ability to spark someone out is a lot more useful in MMA than it is in boxing, for example. I think obviously it's just a matter of crap shooting your advantages, right? You got to throw them out there somehow to try to get a win. And although it is disadvantageous in certain areas of his game, it also is the reason why his stronger areas of his game work. So I wouldn't know how to coach that out of him, right? Or try to change like what to change to fix that, because ultimately it's just the pros and cons that comes with the body type. But that's a really good thought, right? Like I don't think Oban Elliott is going to have an easy time getting takedowns. Like I think if this fight comes down to it, where we end up on the ground often, I think it'll be in the midst of a scramble and sort of a advantageous moment or a bull rush or maybe even a fall. Like I think just based on the way both these guys fight, they're probably going to be willing to throw down on the feet, more so than anyone trying to outright shoot for takedowns. And I think Val Woodburn has better takedown defense than people give him credit for. But all things considered, I just think the body type just make things a little weird. And I didn't anticipate us going anywhere near this long in this damn fight. So let's move on. We're going to the heavyweight division. God damn it. We've got Marcos Rogerio de Lima, minus 185, going up against Junior, not Justin. We got old Junior out of the back shed because something happened with the other Tafa bro. So why not, right? We already allocated this money. We got another Tafa bro on a UFC entry level contract. Throw him in there, right? Fuck it. I hope he's getting paid a little bit extra because goddamn, feels a little weird, right? To just be like, all right, fuck it. I was here training. I might as well do it. But as far as breaking down this fight goes, if there was any replacement that would make this a little bit of a similar task when it comes to breaking down this fight, we got to be blessed, right? As a unit, that Junior Tafa was the one that stepped in here. Funny enough, I think stylistically, Junior Tafa is at a little bit more of a disadvantage than his brother Justin, because I think when it comes down to the wrestling and the grappling in this fight, obviously Marcos Rogerio de Lima, that was his path to victory with Justin. So kind of makes sense that he would try to accentuate that as well against Junior. I say all this to say I have not seen Marcos Rogerio de Lima successfully grapple since he moved up to the heavyweight division. And I like the Tafa bros here, man. I know everyone on Twitter just loves Marcos Rogerio de Lima in this spot. I don't think a lot of what I see them leaning on in the analysis, right? We're just gonna get a takedown and we're gonna figure this thing out. When the fuck has he done that recently? Like it just fucking hasn't happened. So I feel pretty loose, right, about making this pick, especially because he's coming in on fucking 1 day's notice. But we riding with Tafa Gang, man. Way to put the fucking nuts on the table. How you feeling, Sean?
Wow, wow, I'm pretty surprised by that. I was gonna go with Justin in this fight, but I can't. I can't. I know. Junior's been training. I get that, but this is as late of a replacement as you can get. I don't know if I've ever seen a replacement as late as this one, and I have to say, I don't know what Tafa's gas tank's going to look like in 15 minutes. I don't even know if he has a specific game plan besides what his brother's been trying to tell him quickly, in his ear. And this is a tough one. This is a tough one. While I fully agree with you, I'm not really too big on DeLima since he's moved up. I really do think though that this is one of those where this is kind of if Junior Tafa can't find a way to put this one away in the first like 5 to 7 minutes, I think DeLima kind of just slows this game down, either pieces him apart, or he could just eventually take him down, and that's where he'll thrive because it's the cardio that I think will definitely come into play here with I guess you have a training camp, but you're obviously not in that training camp to fight him. I know he was supposed to fight in a month against Carl Williams. So you're talking about a completely different situation here. Who even knows if he's going to even fight Carl Williams now? But I think this is one of those, if Tafa doesn't get it done the first 5, this might sneak DeLima's way and kind of, go that route. Either way, I don't like either situation. If Tafa wins, it's a huge upset, I think, to me. But I think if DeLima wins, I really don't believe in him too much as a heavyweight as to who he could fight next that I would feel confident in. So I have to go with DeLima.
Bro, that sounded like you were going Tafa there at the end, man.
I know I had to confuse everybody.
Yeah, I thought you were trying to pull a me there, right? The little Uno reverse. I love it. I love it. This feels dirty, right? I just got to say this. I kind of wish we didn't have to pick this fight, right? Like,
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
feels dirty. Like, even though the odds are what they are, to me, it feels like a fucking coin flip. But we'll leave it at that. This is the same guy that just made Derek Lewis look like the second coming of fucking Jesus Christ himself. So yeah, we got some weird things going on here at heavyweight, but I'll take it no other way. Next up, Ming Yang Zhang minus 115 going up against Brenson Hibero plus 105. Sean, I'm throwing back to you again because someone's calling me.
Ooh, okay. Love that. This is I'm extremely excited for this fight. Both these guys are absolute knockout artists. I think Zhang's gonna come in here, and I think from what I read, it was 9 straight first round knockouts and 9-0 or something like that before he's coming to the UFC. And he's someone I'm really looking out for. He wasn't even part of the road to UFC. He was just happened to be there. So it really ended up working out. And I think this fight is so close because Brenson, same thing. I think he's on like a 6-fight first round streak. They both are like I think 33 knockouts between them. It's like a crazy mark or something, and it's like 27 of them are all in the first round. This is gonna be. I'd be surprised if this makes it to the end. To be honest with you, someone's getting clipped. Both these guys have incredible power. Man, this is tough for me. You know what? Give me Zhang here. I like Zhang here. I like it. It's different. I was thinking Ribeiro all the way until this very moment, but I know you're gonna probably go Ribeiro because I know you too well, and I'm gonna go with Zhang just to be different.
Okay, that was interesting. Sorry I had to throw to you like that. I was kind of looking forward to taking the reins on this one here because
Sorry.
I'm all about the Zhang gang, baby. I don't know why the fuck you think I'd be on Hibero here. I actually, even though Ming Yang Zhang has lost to some very questionable human beings, I just got to start by saying that. I actually do like his style. I think he has no defense. I think neither of these guys have defense. So, like you said, this is a smash them till we grab them kind of fight. And I like a Ming Yang Zhang here just because the dude's head is a fucking fire hydrant, right? Like we're gonna take some shots and we're gonna go forward until somebody dies. And god damn it, why don't we take the Zhang gang? Look at let there be light, baby. I'm going with Zhang, and we'll keep it short and sweet and move on because this is where, in my opinion, the card actually starts really getting interesting. Next up, we've got Sean's favorite Dynasty poster boy,
That's
Rinya
right.
Nakamura, the largest favorite on the card at minus
Of course.
1,200. This is odds all delivered by Best Fight Odds, by the way. I'm sure there's a lot of different bookies that have them upwards of minus 1,300. Going up against Carlos Vera plus 850. I'll take the lead on this one. I'm just gonna say I think the odds are very indicative of the kind of fight this is gonna be. I think Carlos Vera can certainly make things interesting on the feet. But I just feel like based on the way these styles match up, I think Rinya should be able to easily get a takedown if he really tries. And on top of it, I think he's shown to be dangerous on the feet and willing to throw hard and strong strikes. And I don't think I've seen much from Carlos Vera that makes me confident that he's going to be able to really change the game here in this matchup. I'm picking Rinya here, not just because he's a huge favorite, but just because I think his development is really exciting. I think this is a good fight for that. And I think I would love to see him work his striking a little bit more here, more so in a flow state than just I'm gonna try and kill you. I think having some time navigating those middle spaces in range can only do great things for his takedown game. This dude is so instinctual when it comes to just body manipulation, whether it's up against the fence or already on the mat. Some of the most flowy, exciting grappling I've ever seen on a prospect, and that's saying a lot, man. I've watched a lot of fucking fights, and I think Rinya sticks out as someone that's definitely going to be doing some great things in this division. So, fuck you for taking him. I like Rinya Nakamura.
Yeah, I obviously I'm picking Rinya. He's like my number one guy on Dynasty. I'm very blessed to have him. But I think you know what? I know he's one of the best you could see it in freestyle wrestling, but I really do think that he's going to try to keep this standing up a little bit. I think he's got to show, that he's more than just getting for the takedown and kind of just having his way. I think he is a incredible up and coming prospect that obviously 1,200 is the number you're seeing, but I think he has to show more than he's just a wrestler. And I know that he is, and I know people say that he is, but I think this is one of those where I think he stands for the majority of this fight. And I think he, someone like Carlos who lost to Bracatona in the Ultimate Fighter, I think this is one of those fights where you look at it and you go into this camp and you say, you know what, it's time to show every tool that we have in the toolbox here. Let's continue to push it. And let's see what everything that you got here. Let's not just go for the our bread and butter. Let's try some new tools out there. So I think Rinya, but I think this is going to be a more fun fight than people think.
Couldn't agree with you more. Shout out to our guy Arwin in the chat, bringing up the solid points, man. Yeah, I agree. This guy got him his last time he fought, right? It wasn't even this card that he drafted him. So a great pickup there, and I couldn't agree with you more, Arwin. Really good shout on you, Sean, even though I hate giving you fucking props. Next up, Josh Quinlan, plus 170, going up against Kiss'em Danny Barlow. God damn it, Kiss'em K. I'm trying to make some connections here. I hope you guys watch Holes. But anyway, I'm gonna be real here, man. This fight is strange. This fight is very strange. I've been very confident all week. That I was going to be picking Danny Barlow in this. And then I watched some footage on some older Danny Barlow fights. And there was some stuff, particularly in the grappling, that got me a little fucked up here, man. It got me feeling a little weird. This is a fun matchup. I think both of these guys have a future in this division, not necessarily upper echelon, but I think both of these guys should be able to cut out a little niche for themselves here. You know what? Fuck it. Shout out Arwin's here. You know what I'm saying? We're going to fucking Hawaii with this one. We're taking the Poke Bowls. I just feel like from all that I've seen, from both of these guys. Obviously, we gotta be wary of the big power coming back from Barlow, but I just feel like Josh Quinlan has a better process on the feet and also has the chops to put him in some bad positions, whether it be on the ground or against the fence. So I'm shooting for the dogs, baby. Give me Josh Quinlan minus 170. Well, plus 170. How you feeling, Sean?
Ooh, you know what? Because this fight's one where I'm not too confident in Josh, nor am I too confident in Danny in the long term here. But just to be, I was gonna pick Josh too, but I got to be different than you. Yeah, I don't like it, but
Just picking off of vibes at this point. I love it.
just because I need to continue to separate myself from you, and then so you could cry
Separate
about
yourself.
it
I'm
in
winning.
August and
I'm
September.
winning of 2024.
I told you,
2024,
I'm
I'm
letting
winning.
you have these first couple, fight nights. Let you think you're on top. I told you this. Come on, you're not listening. Come on, man. You know what? Give me Danny here, so I can continue to separate. I can edge a little closer. I don't like doing that, but you know what? All right, give me Danny. Give me Danny.
All right.
Before I change my mind.
I love that there was no other reason than the head-to-head picks. She's just going with Danny. Fuck
No,
it.
because I said I agree with you with Josh, and I would have picked Josh, but I have to be different than you.
So then how can you pick, like, bro, I'm gonna be honest. This
I have to pick. I have to be different.
Can you make the case? Can you make the case? What are we looking at here? We're looking at a knockout. We're looking at
yeah. I'm seeing a first round knockout by Danny here. Yep.
Wow, that's bold. That's bold.
I think you're in for a huge rude awakening, and this is where one of those fights where I have to like take my wins, and I have to be different here. I have to be bold. So I have to pick Danny here. Would I do it? No, but this is what I have to. Yeah, separating my parents, just like mine, buddy. Just like mine.
Mine
I get
too.
that.
Yeah, it's fucking, as of this year, fucking crazy. It all works out, right? Look at this synergy, right? We got divorce synergy on this chat. Goddamn,
of course,
and I love it. Next up, it's only right that we move on after that because it got a little sad in here. We've got the ultimate pants around the ankles fight. Shout out to Bobby Green because brother, you just like me for real. Because
oh my god,
sheesh. We got Amanda Lemos minus 130 going up against Big Mac herself, Mackenzie Dern, the woman that Sean dropped from his Dynasty team this year. So I would love to see her win here just for that fact. I went first last time, Sean. So why don't you start talking while I lower these draws?
All right. So this one, I had to drop Dern because I let Dern get the best of me with the looks, and you know what you have to do. Sometimes you have to sacrifice, and you have to be able to release certain athletes before they get the best of you. All right.
I'm glad you went with.
Yeah, I know. I was close. I was close there, but sometimes you can't get distracted by certain things that happen, and so I'm doing the best thing for myself and my mental health here, and I have to let Mackenzie Dern just go off and do her own thing here, even though I'm a humongous fan of her, especially during the weigh-ins. But besides that, I still think Amanda Lemos is a incredible fighter, and I think she's completely overshadowed now by that title fight, how much of an ass whooping she took. I still think that she is a top dog, and I did not like Mackenzie Dern's last fight. I think that was Andrade, if I remember correctly. And so I don't. Oh yeah, okay. I'm looking at the odds now here, but yeah, I'm still going with Lemos here. I like Dern, but I think Amanda Lemos is stronger. I think she keeps this standing. I don't think Dern's going to have a lot of success on the takedowns, and I see Amanda Lemos kind of pushing that fight against Wei Lee off ship here. Just pretend like it never happened and get herself back into this contendership. And I don't see Dern being a top contender, even though as much as I would love her to be. I think Lemos gets a second round TKO. Third round.
I like it. He's waffling about. Yeah, no matter what, this is going to be a bounce back fight, right? That's the beauty of getting two fighters that are coming off the schneid to fight each other. This is an interesting matchup, and I think the odds are pretty much where they should be, right? All things considered. Um, um, listen, man, Dern's wrestling is terrible. Like on levels that it's hard for me to state how frustrating it is to watch as someone that has trained strictly BJJ. She has the BJJ wrestling, right? Like 1,000%. Um, and her pressure game, while in previous fights like the Angela Hill fight, that really helps open things up and get her into top control without necessarily having to rely on her takedowns. Um, shout out to shout out to Daniel Cormier on this one. I just think just work on your fucking singles, right? I feel like Big Mac. Let's just get a whole camp in, just working on the single legs, right? I think obviously at this division a little harder to finish that, but man, her shot, like I can't imagine her landing a double leg on anyone, like anyone, just based on what we've seen. I'm talking a lot of shit now at this point, so I'm gonna stop. I think no matter who wins here, we're gonna look back at this and be like, man, those odds were off, which is weird because I'm like, man, the odds feel pretty good. It feels right about where it should be. But I think no matter how either woman wins, it's gonna be pretty dominant and make us feel like, oh, we should have saw that coming, right? I'm also leaning towards Amanda Lemos. I think what we saw as far as top position control from Jessica Andrade was very troubling. Oh, excuse me, from Weili Zhang in that fight was pretty troubling. But I just don't see a way we get Mackenzie Dern to make that happen in this fight. Um, I just think this is honestly, if Amanda Lemos loses this fight, I would be pretty shocked. Like I think this really is a IQ test kind of get back fight for her. Obviously Mackenzie Dern coming in on short notice. This was originally supposed to be Tatiana Suarez. That would have been one hell of a fight
Bro,
too,
I'm
man.
so upset
Um,
that that didn't happen. I was so looking forward to that fight.
Honestly, I thought it was a kind of silly fight when it got booked in the first place
Why?
because I was like, why the fuck? I mean, why are we doing this? Like, in my opinion, I think no matter what, have her there at a UFC 300 and be the backup. But of course, the story of Tatiana Suarez and injuries just continues to
And
develop.
that's why.
Um, I'm I'm gonna go with this guy. As a backup fighter.
Makes sense now, right?
Have her as the backup. Have her as the backup instead of making her get injured in camp. I'm gonna go with Amanda Lemos, and I think I pretty much made that clear already. Next up, we've got the ultimate middleweight fight, a very exciting matchup with the second coming of Chase Hooper, Roman Kopylov, at plus 205, going up against Mr. Fluffy Hernandez himself. Yeah, thanks, Sean, for the effort here. At minus 238, man, this middleweight fight, god damn it, it is a middleweight fight. Anthony Hernandez is one of the most exciting stories that I can recall of the last however many years I've been watching MMA. Just constantly improving and constantly showing himself to be an absolute fucking warrior, right? You cut into this man, there's going to be a whole bunch of different collies, shepherd dogs, just all the dogs coming out of these different orifices of our guy Fluffy Hernandez. As far as this matchup goes, I'm not gonna lie, that story makes me a little sad, and here's why. I think yes, we have another Sean fighter, a Sean represent team Sean Negrong MMA in Roman Kopylov, and it pains me to admit that I'm actually going to be picking him as an underdog in this
Me
matchup.
too.
I really like the way these guys match up on the feet. I think Roman Kopylov is a much sturdier fighter than people give him credit for. And I think Anthony Hernandez is pretty hittable against people that are out there looking only to hurt him. I think if we're looking at people that are trying to grapple him, whatever, there's a lot of different ways you could weaponize that pace. But against someone that is very diligent about keeping range in their striking in general, I just think Roman Kopylov should be able to keep him on the outside, land a lot of big shots from outside. I'm looking at you, left kick, whether to the body or to the head. I just think there's a lot of different openings for Roman Kopylov to capitalize on some of Hernandez's mistakes rushing in. I also won't be surprised if he ends up getting fucking 9 takedowns en route to a victory, right? That's just the kind of guy that Anthony Hernandez is. But based on the way I've seen both of these guys fight, I honestly would be surprised if Anthony Hernandez gets his takedowns going early, especially like in the first round. I think it's going to take some time to slow down Roman before he can comfortably get takedowns. And I think in that time, Anthony Hernandez is going to be receiving a lot more damage than he's going to be giving out. And that should be the difference. So I'm going Roman Kopylov by decision here. But there might be some dicey moments where he almost gets a knockout. What do you got at 185, Sean?
I think this is Kopilov's fight. Even though I do think Hernandez is incredibly talented, and I think if he does end up getting Kopylov down easier than I expect, then once he gets the back, it's over. I feel like that's like Hernandez's big thing. If he gets your back, it's a wrap. There's really almost no way of getting out of it. But I do think Kopylov is so good, especially it's going to be a little bit challenging for Hernandez because Kopilov's the southpaw. So I do feel that that's definitely going to play a certain aspect, and especially because Kopylov is so picky with his strikes and he creates so much distance. His footwork is really, really strong. That's why I picked him in Dynasty, because I just think he's very strategic. And I think he's so powerful with the arms and in his legs that I think with the distance, he could keep Hernandez away. And while I do think Hernandez will definitely make it challenging, especially when he goes for those takedowns, I think Kopylov can manage the distance enough for those first 10 minutes that I think you could be looking at Hernandez trying to get back into this fight instead of the other way around. And I see this one, honestly, going the distance, but I think Kopylov wins this one 30-27.
Wow.
Yep.
All 3 rounds, pitching a shutout as the underdog. Shit, you better throw some coin on this.
No, because if I do that,
selfishly.
you know why I can't ever do that. And where I'll be, I still won't do that. Hell no. Yeah. I can't do that.
Look at this guy. Whenever he gets a chance, just bringing up the Vegas vacation. Hey, I hope you enjoy your vacation in Vegas.
I brought it up one time. I didn't even say it. You'd say it.
Yeah. Where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to the the bantamweight division. I don't know where the fuck I am right now. We've got Merab Dvalishvili, minus 225. Going up against Henry Cejudo, the fakest, most American Mexican I've ever seen in my life. Sean, I'm gonna let you take this one. I know this. These two guys hold a very special place in your heart. So interested to see which way you go with this.
I would love to know why you think Cejudo plays a very special place in my heart. He's not Mexican, even though he is, but he's really not. No, this is honestly. I think it's easy to put Merab as like he's going to guarantee, like he's going to dominate in this, and his cardio is unbelievable. He's just going to take Cejudo for a ride and gas out Cejudo. But listen, I think Cejudo knows that his career's on the line here. His talking shit days are numbered. If he came back to lose to the same camp back to back after he was already planning, I'll beat Aljamain, I'll tune up Sean, and then I'll beat Volk, and like how quickly it didn't go that way to lose to Aljamain, and like I know people think Cejudo won that fight. I don't know how you thought that. I still think Aljamain won 3-2. I thought it was close, but I thought Aljamain won, and in this one, I think if this were 5 rounds, maybe I would consider it being a closer fight, but I think Merab is the up-and-coming number 1 contender for this division, and it's long overdue. I don't think Cejudo gets this past. Cejudo, I think, is 37, 38. I think Merab's gas tank and ability to just take him down. I don't think he's going to have the record like he got previously, but I could see this one being an absolute cardio and defensive domination once again, and Cejudo just unable to grab reach or to get his reach going and getting him uncomfortable, just like with Aljamain, even though Aljamain I know is a taller striker, but I see this one being Merab's way. I think it'll be a little tough in the beginning because Henry has the experience, and I think Henry might even be able to squeeze out that first round, but I do think that that entire camp over here in Long Island knows exactly what to do. Especially, they've done this so many times where Sterling will fight him first, and then Marab gets him second, and it kind of just gets rid of the scraps. Ask Peter Yan all about it. I think this is just
I bet
part
he
two, and
that hurts.
yeah, it hurts, but it's true. Even though obviously with Peter Yan it's a little bit different, but I think it's training for the same camp. You know who you're fighting, and I think this one is Marab all day.
All day. I love the confidence, the conviction.
Are you going to be sad with Henry retiring?
Hey, we're not even there yet, bro.
I'm
Relax.
going with my
Relax. Slow it
prediction
down.
because if he loses, he's just going to take the mic and just say, "Oh, I'm Triple C. I'm the Olympic gold medalist. I'm the greatest 2-time. Oh, this, and that. I'm retiring, but these clowns are not as good as me, and this, and that. And pretend like I didn't just get my ass whooped twice in a row. I should have never retired, but I thought I was better than Dana, but I know I'm not. All this. I'm just waiting for all this to come out. All the money and this, and that. So." I just want to ask you, are you going to be sad when Henry retires?
I just want to ask you again, like, what is going on with asking me a question and answering it before I can answer? Like,
Because I'm
doesn't
just
that take
leaning it
away
for
the
you.
allure?
Yeah, I'm leaning your
Doesn't
answer
that take
for you.
away? It's like a multiple choice question. Like you're giving me the different options, the different answers.
Yeah, and choice D is all the above. You have to choose all the above every time.
Exactly. Um, I won't be surprised if he retires here, specifically because a lot of the stuff he's been talking about in the lead up to this fight, the dude clearly is doing this for money at this point. Like there's no question in my mind why he's still fighting, and it's kind of unfortunate because that's kind of the direct opposite of who he has been as a competitor, right? Like it's never been about the money for him. And when he was 18 years old and he found his way to becoming an Olympic gold medalist, right? It was never about the money then. So it just makes me feel very dirty to know that this is where we've come. Also, hearing you frame it as I think I'm better than Dana White when we live in a monopolistic society, and it is very clear that no matter who you are on this roster, whether you're a champion or you're just starting out, let me make one thing very fucking clear: these guys are robbing you. Like, no matter what, whatever dollar you get from them, you are probably owed about five. And no matter what happens here, I'm always going to side with the fighters in that way. So it kind of really sucked that he wasn't able to capitalize on his title run and title reign and get the kind of money that a fighter like him deserves, man. Because I think if promoted properly, and if he never took the cringe turn, I think that's the important second part. If he never took the cringe turn and was promoted properly, I think we could live in a world where Henry Cejudo is kind of like a Alexander Volkanovski type star, where the fans are just, how the fuck has this guy endured for so long, right? Like I think he's that kind of a talent, but we never got to see that because of his retirement. So that's a great shout. As far as this matchup goes, I'm gonna be real, man. If you closed your eyes, right, and you try to frame a fighter, that would be the sort of kryptonite to what Marab brings to the table. I think Henry Cejudo in that Marlon Moraes fight is that guy. Like, I think if he comes squared away, focuses on the leg kicks on the feet, and focuses on that karate range style, I really think he can give Marab fits, especially if he can keep him off his legs. Um, I might end up talking myself into a Cejudo pick in this fucking fight here, but I just think no matter what, this fight ends up playing out to be kind of messy, kind of, oh, I just fell. Actually, no, I'm in on a single. Like that's something that happens a lot when I'm watching Marab Dvalishvili fight. The dude is just a madman, and no matter what happens in the fight, he tries to find a way to use it to his advantage, which is something very fun to witness. I like this matchup a lot. I think this is really going to give us a lot of answers about where these guys are in their career. I think if Cejudo comes out and just does what he needs to do and fights the way he has shown he's capable of, I think he could very much so win this fight. And I think the odds might be a little wide, all things considered. I think this is going to be a close fight, but I think ultimately it's going to get messy and sloppy enough that Merab Dvalishvili should be able to put a pace on him. Honestly, the only thing that would really surprise me here is if Merab knocks him out. Like that's the only, if Merab knocks him out on the feet or something like that, that would be super surprising. But besides that, I'm not confident on the way this fight goes at all, man. I think if we had prime Cejudo, this would be a lot more fun to think about. But ultimately, I think when it comes to staying ahead in the scrambles and staying ahead um, in exchanges in general, I just think Marab is someone that just doesn't give a fuck enough to just put himself in a position to always be 1 inch closer to a finish than you are. So, edging Marab, I fucking love it. I'm going with Marab, the hair plant, Davalishvili. Let's fucking go. So we're unanimous on that one. It's only right that we go and move on to a very important fight, a very very important fight when it comes to our dynasty teams as well. Something that I think is important to mention. We've got Jeff Neal plus 195 going up against Sean's favorite fighter in the entire universe, Ian Machado Gary. Holy shit, this is a fucking fight, right? I all week, all week, I was very confident in the fact that, God damn, I think Ian Gary is going to get an easy win here, whether it be a knockout, whether it be a controlling type decision. I just felt very confident. And then I saw Jeff Neal at the press conference. And this guy, right? Shout out to that catchphrase between you and I. This fucking guy looks like he's in the best shape he's ever been in his career. Um, saw the exchange on him on that little face off where personally thanked him, right? Thank you for making that shirt. Like you really motivated me for this one. And Ian Gary kind of didn't know what to say there, right? He's like, you gotta own it, mate. Fucking hate Ian
I love
Gary.
that accent. Can you do it again?
You gotta own it, mate. You gotta own it. Yeah, I do my best Lucky Charms impression whenever asked
Wow.
upon.
Wow.
As far as the fight goes, I would really love to get a Jeff Neal win here. Like I'll make that clear again. I would really love to see a Jeff Green win here. I think from what we saw in his career and the level of opposition he's faced, I think he's faced a lot tougher tests than Ian Machado has ever come close to facing in the UFC. But I say all that to say this test is a very specifically difficult one for Jeff Neal's style. I think he is a little bit too left hand dominant. And I think against someone like Ian Gary, that's just asking to get lit on fire, whether it be angling off and landing his own cross or just constantly throwing kicks to that side until your arm is damaged. And then now you're a sort of sitting duck on the outside. I think Ian Gary is a lot better than I ever gave him credit for on this show. I've talked a lot of shit about Ian Gary, right? And then I picked him on my dynasty team, and I'm very happy about it because I think his trajectory is very good. But I will make something very clear here. I'm picking Ian Gary. I think the odds getting closer as the fight gets closer, I think is the right thing. I thought he was overblown a couple days ago as far as how big the odds were. But I'm going to make this very, very clear here. I think Ian Gary, all things considered, should win this fight 30-27. But based on his chin issues, I would not be surprised at all if we see a Jeff Neal win here. Kind of want to pick him, but I'm going to go with the WAG, Ian Machado Gary. I can't hear you if you're speaking, Sean.
It wouldn't let me unmute for like 15 seconds there. All right, because I was trying to say something, but anyway, I think, yes, I agree with you. I think this is Ian Gary's fight to lose. I think 100% what you were saying. I think Neal is a super lefty, heavy. You kind of know what he's going to throw. That right hand straight, left hand over, left hook every time. And so you kind of know that he's going to try to force the outside. And I think with how incredible Ian Gary is at keeping the distance and using his arsenal with his kicks, I agree with you. I think it's one of those where he just makes Neal extremely uncomfortable. And I think you can get a situation where Neal is sort of, he's going into the fight motivated, but he's going to be super uncomfortable around like that 3-minute mark of the first round. And I think this fight can last all 15 minutes, maybe even get a third round stoppage. But I also could see some crazy situation where if Neal connects on one hook with the left hand, I could see Ian Gary going right to sleep. And I think that's every person's dream right now. They're going to go to sleep tonight praying that his head bounces off the canvas a couple times because they've all been waiting for this moment. And to be honest with you, the only other reason I could give Neil in this is because I don't know how Ian Gary's taken this whole thing that's happened with his wife, Sean Strickland, Colby Covington, everything that's been said, because he's still he's still talking about it. Like no one's talking about it now. Like obviously people are gonna still poke fun about it every time his name is mentioned. But the fact that he's still mentioning it shows how much it still bothers him. And that could be something that Neil exploits. And I know this fight was supposed to happen about 6 months ago, or maybe even a little longer than that. But I'm so glad it's happening now with how much it's motivated Neil and how much it's changed Ian Gary. So I could absolutely see a situation where Neil is so motivated he puts Ian Gary to sleep. But if this fight stays within this fight in the octagon and it has nothing to do with anything on the outside, I think Ian Gary pieces him up with the legs. I think he eventually does get to him in the third round. I don't know if he'll get finished, but I could see this one going Ian Gary's way in a unanimous decision. I got to give Neil a lot of credit, though. That fight against Shavkat was incredible against a guy who's supposed to be unbreakable, and he had him pretty close, obviously, until he got submitted. But it was an incredible fight, and it doesn't get that much easier here. But I do think that UFC would love to headline Ian Gary as well, and I think they've been looking forward to making this fight. And I think this is a fight made for Ian Gary to win, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Okay, I've got a question for you here because you and
Let's
I
go.
spoke about this man, the wag himself,
Let's go.
Ian Machado Gary. And what we've talked about, right, is how in Dynasty I am his owner, right? I own
Yes.
one Ian Machado Gary.
Yes.
And you mentioned to me that you might be interested in potentially offering me a trade
Yes.
for Ian Gary. So I think that's something that we may discuss later as we get into our Dynasty segment. But I just want to ask you off the top, what about Ian Gary makes you want to trade for him, regardless of if you presented me a package or not?
Because I still think his future in the next 2 to 3 years is still very bright. I think what he can potentially do with the UFC and the fan base in Ireland and just with numbers in general is what the UFC is looking for right now as a potential European superstar. And I know there's a bunch of them now, but someone like him who's so loudmouth, who's Conor Jr., who wants to be everything Conor was. And it's because Conor's success is so incredible on the mic and in the octagon before obviously going to fight Floyd. You know, that it's almost like you're getting that. And we're honestly seeing it a little bit in this main event too with Ilya. You're kind of seeing a lot of shades of what Conor had done in the past and how much people use that to continue to blow up in the media. And I think Ian Gary has used that well. He literally takes lines from Conor. It's almost weird. And I know, and the thing is with me is I don't hate anybody. I could care less about any sort of fighter and what you think. I don't know the person personally, so if would I love to see Ian Gary get knocked out? Absolutely, but I also would love to see him have huge success and prove all these haters and all the people who hate him wrong. I would love to see him fight Colby and just put Colby's lights out. Like that would the trajectory of Colby and all those Colby fans would be incredible. And I'm a Colby fan. But it's just I love when you can like Nate Diaz says, where you can move the needle. And right now in this current moment, Ian Gary moves the needle. And also, Ian Gary can play in two divisions here because if Sean Strickland keeps talking, the UFC would love to make that fight because if Strickland loses his next fight, let's just say, right, Ian Gary wins his next two, you could absolutely see a situation where they make that fight just to create this super overhyped thing. It could be a main card, a main event to a fight night in like Jacksonville for all we care. Like it could be, you could create numbers with Ian Gary. And I think that's why I think he's going to get himself a title shot. I'm not saying he's going to be a champion, but I do think he'll have a title shot for sure. And I think there's a situation where you could see him getting a title contender shot, a number one contender shot in Ireland or somewhere close to it. So, the lights are very bright on Ian here, and I think if you put someone's lights out like Jeff Neal, then the world is his.
Yeah, the future is bright. But I just got to say this. Hear me out here. I think if you remember the Patara earrings, right, from DBZ, where we throw them on and then you get the instant fusion, like you don't got to do the
Why would I
dance. You
know that?
remember this?
Why would I know that? I
Okay,
don't know
well,
anything about Dragon Ball Z.
I think it's important. How dare you, bro? How old are you? Like, what did we live the
27,
same life?
unfortunately.
Oh my God. Yeah. How do we live the same life?
Dude, I'm old,
I'm a
bro.
couple months younger. I'm a couple months younger than you, but I can't believe you don't know what Patara earrings are. Anyway, it is a device where if you give it to somebody that has a similar power level and strength to you, you guys fuse into one person, right? And I think that is Ian Gary is the Patara fusion of Forrest Griffin and Bo Nickel.
Ooh.
Both of those guys, not the fighting style at all. We're talking about how these motherfuckers look. That's
Yeah, I know
where
what you're
we're
saying.
coming together here. But I couldn't agree with what you said more. There's some bright things in the future for Ian Gary, and hopefully we can continue that conversation on the Dynasty section. But next up,
Of
we've
course.
got our co-main events. Rob Whitaker, Bobby Knuckles, the Reaper, whatever the fuck you want to call him. Just don't call him a fucking. Just don't call him someone that shits the bed, okay? Going up against I was about to say Paulo Pasta. Ain't that a bitch?
Paulo.
Paulo Costa, Mr. Costa, Bohachina. I haven't heard that in a while. Plus 205. He's here. He showed
Dude,
up. There's
he
no
won for me
holes in his
already.
arm. There's no
Yep.
holes in his
He
arm.
made weight. I couldn't believe it.
Dude. Yeah. I remember you saying there was a 40% chance he doesn't show up here.
Yeah.
And yeah, those
I was
chances.
confident I didn't have to talk about him today.
Yeah, 100% of the time when it comes to you and betting or throwing odds on anything, it just doesn't work out. But it's okay.
I'm telling you.
It's okay.
It's crazy.
This is a fight that is going to take place. I don't know how to feel about this fight, right? I think all things considered, Rob Whitaker should be a huge favorite like he is. I think given both of these guys' last fights, it's a very weird fight to handicap. I think Robert Whitaker, we're assuming a lot, right? We're assuming he can come back to form. We're assuming there is no PTSD when it comes to absolutely just being dismantled by someone who is larger, who is the more physically imposing figure. And if Paulo Costa has anything, it's motherfucking pressure boxing. I think this is a very tough matchup for both of these guys for that reason. I think this is another one of those fights where whoever wins, we're kind of going to feel at the end like, man, the odds should have been higher on that guy because it feels like whoever gets their way is just kind of going to get the fight. I can't believe I'm saying this. Give me Paulo Costa as the underdog here. I think as far as pressure games go, I don't see Robert Whitaker being able to take him down. I just think he's the much more imposing fighter in this matchup. And I think if Rob Whitaker gets the jab going the way he typically does and works that outside leg and just does all those smart things, I think this should be an easy fight. But when you consider the Paulo Costa, Yoel Romero, Rob Whitaker love triangle, there's a lot of interesting angles where you could see how Paulo could really give him some trouble, especially if there is any lingering doubts in Rob Whitaker's mind. I don't feel confident about this one. I honestly felt very confident about picking Whitaker the entire week. But there's been something about Paulo's aura, whether it be in the press conference or just how well he looked at weigh-ins. I just feel like there's been a lot behind the scenes for Paulo Costa that we haven't gotten to see because he hasn't fought. But I think we're going to see a lot of improvements in his game, especially in the areas where he's strongest. So fuck it, give me the dog.
I'm a little surprised that you've even given this thought. I think this is absolutely Whitaker by first round knockout. To be completely honest with you, I think this is the absolute wake up call that Whitaker needed. I think I was listening to him a lot right before he fought Driscus, and when he beat Vettori, I think we both picked Whitaker to beat Driscus that night. I thought we thought it was going to be a one-sided fight, but I do think that Robert was so eager to get back in the octagon. That's what he kept saying in so many different podcasts. He was literally going on like a press run, just talking about how he wants to get back to the octagon as quickly as he can, and he just wants to beat Adesanya. I know I could beat him this third time around. I got him. This is, I thought I won the second fight, but I know this third fight I got him. I've been prepping myself against him this third time. I know I could take him. And I think all of that got in the mindset and in his head so that he kind of overlooked Driscus here, because you said it a couple shows ago where if that fight happens, Whitaker versus Driscus, 9 times out of 10, we're picking Whitaker. If not 10 out of 10. Like, I think Whitaker's the better fighter than Driscus. I think Whitaker was just off that night. I honestly do. I think Whitaker was almost stagnant and nowhere to be found. And I think Driscus is so uncomfortable and so unorthodox that he just made Whitaker look extremely slow, extremely weak, and kind of gassed out, even though he wasn't by, whatever it was, the 7th minute of the fight. So I think this is one where Whitaker, especially the fact that Costa is now taking this fight, actually made this fight happen. This is like the third time they've tried scheduling it. I think Whitaker sees Costa as a bigger name and someone he can absolutely destroy. And I think Whitaker just tees off on Costa here. I really do. I think Costa is very uncomfortable. I have not believed in Costa since I don't want to say since Adesanya, because I feel like he definitely got exposed versus Adesanya. But even the Vittori fight, he kind of like quit on himself. Even that whole camp, that fight. And even it took him forever to get a fight. He finally got Luke Rockhold. Like, come on, Luke Rockhold, bro. That's his last win, is Luke Rockhold, bro. Like, and I love Luke, I do. But Luke, at that time, Luke's past was 4 years ago. Like, before that, like his prime of who Luke used to be. And even in that fight, that third round was pretty close, especially all the blood smearing, which was awesome. I love that. But it was Luke who had zero gas left going into that third round. That dude looked like he wanted to take a nap. He was so tired, and still put it on.
You look like me after cardio, just fucking, just hands
dude.
on fucking hips, just
100%. 100%. And I think that's what I'm saying with Costa. You're talking about someone who hasn't been.
Who the fuck is Costa? I don't know
I'll call
anyone
him
named
Costa.
Costa.
His name is Paula Costa, okay?
Oh my
Okay, that's what I'm calling him, all right? You know what? It's Costa even more now. I'm going to it's a U instead of an O for you, just because you did that. But I do think that Paula, I'm calling Paula too now. Paula Costa is his last significant win is arguably against Yoel Romero, which is what, 4 years ago almost. So I think Whitaker is primed to get himself back into a title contentionship. I think especially the fact that Adesanya has continued to go up and down, lose, win. I know he's going to fight Driscus next. That's pretty much a given. But I think you could not ask for a Whitaker moment to fucking light a fire up under his ass. The train agrees with me as it's going to come by. I'm telling you, this is going to be like Whitaker's last stand here. I think Whitaker blows through Paulo Costa here. And I think if he gets Strickland next, if he gets Adesanya or Driscus after that, I think it's a revenge tour against both of those guys. And I think he's going to go right through Strickland if that's his next fight. And then whoever he gets between those two guys, it's going to be a hell of a fight, because I think he's looking at this as, okay, I can't just overlook all these contenders and think Adesanya is the guy I have to beat. I have to now, go back to my roots. And he had a hell of a training camp. This is the best shape I've seen him in about like 4 or 5 years. He looks much better than he did against Driscus. Just in his camp alone, I honestly think Whitaker washes him quickly, and then we could stop talking about Paula, because I'm so tired of talking about Costa. I've wanted him cut for like 2.5 years. I can't take the fight being booked, that it's canceled. Even though the last one, I'll give it to him. Staph infection is fucked up. That sucks. But every single time it's some stupid shit. He can't make weight. Some stupid shit happens with him. I'm good on considering him a top 5 contender, and let's just get Whitaker to wash over him, and I think that's what happens.
Damn. Yeah, we couldn't be on more opposite sides on this one. I got to be real with you, though. I can certainly see a world where Robert Whitaker wins this, and then he's middleweight champ by the end of the year. Like that,
Yeah,
that can
100%.
very much so happen. I also can feel the same way about Paulo Costa. I know you don't want to hear it. I know and I know he made his way.
But explain this to me, though.
Guys like Johnny Hendricks on his way up, right? But
I
what do you
get
want me to
it.
explain to you?
Explain the upside you see in Paulo
Bro,
here.
this dude is a
Like
absolute
I
physical
know.
specimen. Like, say what you
I'm with
want.
you on that.
All right,
I'm
but
with
let
you
me
on that.
fucking talk. You asked me
All
a
right. First of
question.
all, I
Let
was
me
talking. All
fucking
right.
talk, okay? Let me fucking speak. All right. When it comes to this matchup, right? I know I already gave my
No,
thoughts,
no. Give
but
me future matchups here.
yeah, what? That's not what you asked me. You asked me why I'm
I know,
confident
but
about Paulo Costa here.
no,
So
no,
what do I
no, no,
see
no. I
interesting
know. I
about him?
understand why you're confident in him in this fight, but in the future,
Mhm.
like, but beyond this one, what do you see? What do you think is going
I think middleweight sucks.
in
And I
his
think
way?
if you can pressure fight people in this division
Hmm.
and you can prevent them from taking you down, I think it's going to be easy to land on a lot of these guys in this division. I think defense is not the strong suit of 185 pounds. And I think imagine him against Dricus. Like, I'm going to be very real with you here. I don't think Dricus knocks him out. Like, I think everyone is tainted in their mind by the Adesanya performance because of how masterfully he did it. But that fight is 1,000% a fight that just gets remembered by the knockout, because there was a
Hmm.
lot of moments in that fight that not only was it very hard for Adesanya to even land anything meaningful, but there was also a lot of moments where he was being pressured back into the cage very often. And I just think Paulo Costa's game is a very exhausting game to go up against. I think if you're constantly being put on the back foot against someone that's just way more physically imposing than you in a sport like MMA, where one shot can just change the trajectory of everything, I think Paulo Costa is a very dangerous human being against anyone that he fights at 185 or 205. I think he has the frame to comfortably fight in either of those divisions. But just based on his physical attributes and the team he fights out of, knowing that he's had over 2 years of consistent training. Say what you want about injuries and staff and not being able to fight. This guy's been training for fights for 2 years. It's not like he's been on the sidelines like fucking John Jones, getting fat and heckling comedians. Nah, bro, we're out here training for fights, and I would imagine that comes with skill development. So I don't know what but that's what makes this fight fun. That's why this is a fucking co-main event. I don't know what either of these guys are going to look like, and either of them can look extremely phenomenal. So why not go with the guy that got a little more value?
I get it. I get it. I just think with me, I can't believe in Costa after 10 minutes. I really can't. I know. I think even and you bring up the Adesanya fight, and I agree with you there. But I also feel that in that fight, he was so stagnant and he was so uncomfortable himself that he
The
really couldn't
mind,
get
bro.
anything going. Yeah, yeah. Again, but you see what I'm saying? There's always like a story with him,
I
and
love
that's
his
what gets me.
personality. He's fucking
I love
hilarious.
him too. Like he's hilarious. He's one of my favorite fucking Twitter people of all time. Like he's absolutely hilarious.
Did you see
But
that clip from the interview I sent you from the Nina Drama
yeah,
interview?
Mike Perry, John Jones baby picture. Yeah,
Oh
that's
man.
hilarious. Like he's hilarious. I love it. Marab too. One of the two funniest guys in the UFC. But I just think with Polo, it's just one of those things where it's like I don't. I really don't believe in him if he has any sort of 5 round fight. And even if he doesn't get it, because he's a human, like you said, a fucking specimen, that he can put anyone's lights out. And he could put Whitaker's lights out in one fucking punch. I think that could definitely happen here. But I just think he's a little slow. I think he's just, I just don't have the confidence in him and with who he's fought in the last, let's say, 3 years. And I just don't think that his future is as bright as Whitaker's can be now. I think Whitaker, because like of the reasons I've been saying, that this is you could not have lit a bigger fire for Whitaker in this current moment. To get embarrassed in a fight he should have never lost, and the fact that Adesanya is not this over-reigning king that can't be beaten. Now, like that crown is there waiting for him in his eyes. That you got 3 guys playing, fucking lollipop with there. Everyone's getting a turn. So
Never heard of
it's
that. That's cool. I've never heard playing lollipop. That's great.
yeah. Why don't you go play lollipop tonight? You can enjoy it. All right.
Whoa. Whoa.
All right. So I think that the belt is definitely up for grabs, and I think this is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely Whitaker's to win.
All right. Let's fucking see. Next up, playing lollipop, baby. We're in the main event. Alexander Volkanovski, old man Volk, minus 122, going up against Ilya Topuria. I know we talked a lot back and forth in that last one, but guess what, Sean? I did it again, brother. I started first with the co-main so that I could throw you the main event.
Uh-huh.
It is your time to shine. Featherweight
Woo!
gold on the line. Let the people
This
know
is
how you feeling.
this is a good one, man. This is a good fight. Um, we've talked about this off air. Um, I think this is a closer fight than people. Like, certain people think that this is Elias to win. There are certain people who think this is Volk's. I think this is a close fight, to be honest with you. I think Elias' speed here is going to be pretty unmatched, but I also think that if Volkanovski can take this to round 3, I think this is a one-sided fight. I think Elias got cardio. I'm not taking that away from him, but never being in a 5-round fight and you're fighting someone who has destroyed everyone in his path. And the only reason we're even looking down on Volk is because he's gone up to a different division and tried to have success and it didn't work out. Even that first fight was super close, even though I think Islam won. That second fight, taking it on 6 days' notice, I think that has like tarnished who what people look at him as. Yes, he got head kicked, and I think that definitely takes a humongous toll on you, and especially trying to get back into the octagon as quickly as he's wanted to. I think there's some issue there with the fact that he's so desperate to get back into fighting that's a little worrisome for me. But I still think that I've said this to you so many times when Ilya has fought. I have felt this whole way that I felt Ilya should have fought someone like Max in a number 1 contender fight night main event. That would have made me feel like, okay, he was ready for Volk. But, I understand he absolutely destroyed Emmett. I'm not taking that away from him. But Emmett versus Volk is a completely different animal. And I think this is still Volk's division by a long shot. I still think that this is potentially could be a closer fight than people think. But I think this fight can go all the way to the 4th or 5th round. And I see Volkanovski taking it. I could see it. I could see, I'll predict this here. I was thinking this is going to be UD all the way through, but I could see a situation where this is Volkanovski TKO in the 5th round with a stand-up stoppage where it's just getting teed off on, and I think the ref just jumps in. Jason Herzog, I think, is the ref for that fight. I could see a situation here where you just see Volk get super comfortable in that 4th and 5th round, and middle of that 5th round just kind of takes over completely. And I see Volk getting a TKO stoppage. Even though I'm not saying Ilya's future is still super, super bright, I think he is another one that can play his cards right and be just like Conor. And I can absolutely see a situation where it's Conor versus Aldo here, and Ilya shocks the world and beats, can beat Volk in the 1st round. I can absolutely see this. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but due to the history, and just like everyone picked Aldo in that fight versus Conor, I think Volk is the veteran, is the Hall of Famer here, is the leader here. And I think he's just a better fighter right now. In this current 2024 February time period, I think Volk takes it. But I can absolutely see a situation where these two can fight again if Volk's still fighting in 2 or 3 years. And I think Volk takes this one for right now.
Man, great breakdown there. Very one-sided in your approach, which I love to see. I'll start on Toporia's side, right? Since there has been no advocation for the Spaniard. I I genuinely think his power in this division is something to behold. I think he has a lot more go than most people do at 145. And I think his game is very smooth, right? Like regardless of how he bops in and out of range or where he ends up in certain exchanges, I think he's just very much so always finding himself instinctually in good spots to land hooking shots specifically. And I think those shots have shown Volk some trouble in the past. So I think it's important to note that. I also think in this matchup, obviously the factor of Islam knocking him out in his last fight, regardless of however we want to handicap that because of Islam's greatness, I think it's important to mention the realities, right? That was only 3 months ago. right? That was not a long time ago at all, and that was a very significant knockout. And who knows if that changes the chin of Alexander Volkanovski. Now, I say all that to say I think it's pretty clear we're both on the same side on this one. I think the value on Alexander Volkanovski at minus 122, I already placed a significant for me bet on Alexander Volkanovski here, and I might end up throwing a little bit more on fight night, especially if things go bad, like round 1 and 2, like a little late double sprinkle on the comeback for Volk. I just think this match is going to be very hard for Ilya to remain not only confident like throughout the fight, but also to remain safe. Like I just think Volkanovski is so good at finding, like you said, those angles either through feints or through outright pressure, right? Those little Volko blitzes that he does, where he rushes in and then now he has you thinking about that approach and then he fakes rush in and just watches you like have a little panic attack. And just downloads the data on how to approach the reactions, right? As someone has gotten murdered outside and the alarm continues to go off. I think Volkanovski has a really good shot to continue his featherweight reign here. I think on the outside, I just got to say this and then I'll shut the fuck up. Particularly shots on that right side for Ilia Topuria has just not been good to him throughout his entire career. All the way back to his debut against Yusuf Zalal, man. Everything on that side just seems to land. And honestly, we saw a little bit of the training in the embedded. I won't be surprised if we see Alexander Volkanovski throwing a steady diet of head kicks on the break here. I think range-wise, they're about the same height. And Volkanovski surely had to have seen that big head kick that obviously rocked him from Jai Herbert. I mean, you could say the same thing about both these guys, right? But I think ultimately, Topuria has shown to be weak on that side, and I think Alexander Volkanovski is just a master, him along with his team, at finding the different areas in which you're weak and then excavating those areas until we create a large hole. And I just won't be surprised at all if we see a knockout even before round 4 or 5, maybe even round 3. I think this might be a similar fight to the Yair Rodriguez one, where there's moments where we're kind of like, oh shit, Volk might be hurt. And he might get tagged a couple times here. I won't be surprised if we see him get rocked. But Volkanovski has a legendary chin, not only in this division, but in the history of the UFC. The shots this guy has taken, gotten visibly hurt by, and came back from is not insignificant. So give me the champ to continue his reign for the Macedonian people by way of Australia. Volkanovski by TKO round 3. And with that, go ahead.
I wanted to ask real quick.
Whoa.
Really quickly, I'm sorry. Really quickly, if let's just say, you know, they were talking about it in this press conference, pre-fight press conference. Do you see a situation where this fight can be within 2 rounds? This is a 2-part question here.
For sure. I mean, it could be for either guy.
Okay. Now, can you see a situation where Volk, because he said he would like to do UFC 300 if he still can, do you still see a situation where that is possible? Because I just can't do what I think's about to happen. I can't. But is there a situation if Volk wins, can he do UFC 300? But my question is also with that is who the hell would it be?
That's interesting. Very interesting all around. Very interesting all around. Okay. Do you know what next week is? UFC Mexico.
Oh, okay, yeah.
How dare you?
I'm like February 20th.
Aren't you the resident Mexican here?
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to require whoever comes out of that featherweight fight to be healthy or somebody at lightweight for fun. Like it's going to be something weird. I don't see him fighting at 300 though, if I'm being honest. I just think this is going to be a longer drag him out kind of fight, even if he does get a win here by knockout, like we said he's gonna. So I just don't see that being a viable path. But if I had to throw out a name, right? Why not give me Mateusz Gamrot versus versus Alexander Volkanovski at lightweight? Because he said he wants to make his way back up there, and that's the only guy I could think of that doesn't have a fight booked. So why not, baby,
You
for the
still
main
think he's
event?
gonna go
And you
to
would
lightweight?
somehow claim that that
Wow.
is better than Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad, which I full-heartedly, full-throatedly disagree with.
I know.
But I don't see Volkanovski being a UFC 300 fighter, and I also don't see you ever getting to a place of semblance with this journalistic integrity where you just don't ask me a question and then tell me your answer before I can even think to give you
I
mine.
told you.
But I love it. I love the strategy here, you know?
Well, I'm thinking even if it's not UFC 300, I'm thinking more of who the hell is Volk fight next? Do you think he's still going to try for this lightweight attempt, or you think that's in the
I don't
past?
think the UFC is going to let him. I think at this point they're just going to be like, stay at 45.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, who the hell would be next now? Even if win or lose.
I mean, who the fuck knows? I think Yair Rodriguez is far away. I think, yeah, man, I have no clue.
You can't do Yair. They're never going to do. They're not going to do Max. They're not going to do. I doubt, unless it's a close fight, then and an Ilya wins, then obviously you could do that rematch. But Ortega, I don't see it happening. You know, Movsar, I just don't think so yet. I just don't think he's ready yet. Arnold Allen either. You know, like this. It's just. I almost feel bad for Volk, and I think that's why he's trying to get back to lightweight, because there's just nobody that's absolutely next except for Ilya that is here. But Ilya is kind of like that last guy for like the next.
He's third.
But he's like the last guy for at least like a year of someone new, of new blood. So this is a tough hole for him.
You could do Movsar Evloev next, and nobody would be upset.
Like, but do you really think Movsar is ready? Do you think Movsar is really ready for Volk?
For sure.
I don't think so. Yeah. I think you're hyped up. I just can't see.
You're just mad because your boy Arnie lost.
That's true. That is true. I'm definitely mad about that. But I don't see Movsar.
But we need to move on. We got Dynasty here, brother.
This guy just wants to get to Dynasty. We already know who you're picking.
No, it's not about who I'm picking, bro. I thought we were gonna negotiate.
Oh, you want to do that first?
Are we not gonna do that?
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's do it.
What is your offerings here? What's going on?
Oh, this guy's been waiting for this.
So I just want to make something clear, because I also didn't even mention this to you, but I already made the executive decision. From this point forward, we have decided as a unit, not we, me, that we are only going to be picking 6 fighters a card from now on. And this might even get lowered soon. Like, I think we've got a pretty good amount of fighters each on our fight cards. And I think each week it gets a little tougher. And we're going to run out of fighters eventually, right? So I think slow it down, pump the brakes a little bit. We're going to be doing 3 picks each, so 6 picks total, until we announce further notice in the future. But with all that being said, I'm really interested to see what you cooked up as far as trade packages go. If you are serious about that, I have no clue.
Well, I love how I didn't know about any of that, and this guy just made an executive decision without me, which is all good. I think
that's what we do.
Yeah, what we do. All right. This guy is really trying to change this up now. First of all, we're not doing this now. Okay, we're doing the 8 picks for this card. Okay, we are. We are.
I already changed.
I don't care if you changed it. You could put it back, because first of all, this is a main card. This is a pay-per-view event. First, we're definitely doing 8. We're just getting that. After, we could go with the fight nights as 6, because that's easier to do, because no one wants to be taking 4 fighters from fight night cards.
This is the same guy, real quick. This is the same guy last week that told me, once we get to the point where we already have 2 fighters every card,
I said 3.
we might as well slow down the picks. And we've consistently for the last 3 weeks have each had 2 fighters a card. But continue.
All right, so after this one, I'm with you.
Okay. I guess I have to compromise
something. Yeah, you made the decision without me. I think I can have 1 week's worth of decision here. I think that's fair.
Yeah. It makes me cringe, but I'll allow
it. Okay.
Go ahead.
All right.
So we're back. We're back to 8 picks. You just turned me into a liar on this.
Yes, show. And then to go with what we had here, from what I remember, I don't remember exactly the offer I had for you, but I did want to do. I will do Ian Gary for the only one I don't want to do. Would you be open to my entire picks from the last fight night? All 6 of them.
Hell no.
This guy was actually
no.
open to it last week. Now all of a sudden it's held
No,
up.
I thought you were saying, let me make this clear. I thought you were saying you were offering your picks from this week for Ian Gary. That's
What
what
the
I thought you
hell?
were
Why the hell would I do that? Why would I?
Why the fuck would I take your picks from last week?
Because that's what I said to you, and you were like, that's actually pretty good. Come up with some
This is
plan.
coming from the guy. No. I thought, like I said, I thought you were saying your picks from this week. This is coming from the guy who picked Robert Brysek with the first overall pick.
That's right.
Hell no.
This dude's a legend.
Not happy.
Sometimes you just gotta make a guess out there. You gotta go with what your heart tells you.
Gotta make lemons out of lemonade.
All right.
That's definitely how.
You know what? I think this is one where we're gonna have to do in a recording because I have a couple, but I don't feel like getting turned down every single time.
Throw them out there. Let's do it. Throw them out there. Come on, let's rapid fire this. Go ahead.
First of all, this is. I'll give you. I will give you. Where are they? Every single women's fighter I have for Ian Gary.
All right, we're not doing this anymore. Let's get into our draft, ladies and gentlemen, because that was the most sexist shit.
No, it's not. It's not because of that. It's because I don't.
It's all about the wags, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's about because I'm not as in detailed with women's MMA that I have been with male MMA, and I'm not saying that in a mean way.
That's such a silly reason.
It is no, but I can't because we had plenty of fight nights where there's majority. I should say majority. 3 or 4 fights that have been you had to choose women fighters, and I'm not saying that in a mean way. I'm gonna get canceled. I just feel it. But
yeah, please, you deserve to.
But you'll never see me confidently pick a women's MMA fighter again. Like you won't, because I'm not as highly strung as I am on male MMA. So that's what I'm saying. You can have them all. I don't care who's the top contender. Just take them.
Honestly, there was a lot of different answers I could have got to that question, and I think the one you gave me was the worst one you could have said.
Wow.
But continue.
All right.
Yeah. So it's only right now that we jump right into our picks for this week. I have the gift, right? The blessing of being the man that has the first pick.
We all know you're taking. I got it. Just take them.
So there's a lot of different ways I can go about this, and I know that one of them is the one that you are thinking of. But there's a couple of different other ones that also excite me as well. And there's a lot of different people that give me confidence on this fight card as far as people that I can potentially.
Can you just take them already? We all know who you're taking.
So I am going to confidently and excitedly pick Merab.
Oh wow! What a fucking shocker! That was crazy. As if we didn't all see that coming. All right, give me Ilya and Robert.
You thought I was gonna pick?
No,
Ilya,
I knew from the start you were taking Merab. I knew you were taking Merab.
Bullshit.
Merab's the easiest choice. He's gonna win most likely. He's the favorite to win this one, and he's gonna get right into a title fight, and then he can have one of the longest reigns in this division. In that division, obviously that whole division's super tough, but Merab is already like a 2 years worth proven number 1 contender. Who wouldn't take him first overall? So I would have taken him first overall.
Okay,
so just go to your 4th or 5th.
With my next 2 picks, things suddenly have gotten way more thin, right? After
no doubt.
That, how do I want to do this? Give me Amanda Lemos and Oban Elliott.
Ooh, okay. Boom. All right, I'm gonna take. I know I'm gonna have 2 losses because I'm choosing 2 straight of both of these fighters. So give me. You know what? I might just take the triple L. Actually, no, I'm not gonna take the triple L. I can't do it. It's so weak. But my first pick. Oh God, give me Anthony Hernandez here. I think besides this fight, I still think he's confidently got a future there. With my last pick, this is a little tight. Do I want to go with the triple L? Automatically go 3 for 3 no matter what. Best case scenario.
Sounds good to me.
I just don't believe in him. I don't. I really don't. I think we've gotten everyone on the main. You have Dern, right?
No.
You do have Dern.
No, I don't. I picked up Ricci.
Oh, did you? Look at that. Nice job.
So condescending.
It's another one that distracted me too much. Too much, and it cost me. Okay. And then give me you know what? Just to be different, and you didn't do it. Give me Ming Yang Zhang.
Yeah, your guy, Mr. Ming Yang.
Ming Yang.
Yeah, there's no way I was picking that guy on my team.
I know you were.
I'm gonna shock many people.
Just take
with
Costa.
This one. No. I'm picking the guy that either is never gonna fight again or probably is gonna get a step down in competition. Give me Henry Cejudo.
Wow, that dude's never fighting again. But all right,
we can end the day just like that. All right, so that was. Yeah, there was no reason why we needed to make 4 picks here. Like, I'm going to be very real with you.
Makes it tough.
No reason whatsoever.
It makes it tough.
It's okay. Yeah,
I'm happy with my 7th pick, all right? I think Ming Yang's the future.
Yeah, honestly, we might need to talk about this because I think we're gonna have to. We might even have to do 2 picks a night. Like I think our team is getting pretty crowded over here. But all things considered, I think we got a fun little lineup here. Our dynasty matchups are as follows. I have 6 total fighters, and you have 7. I've got Miranda Maverick and Ian Machado Gary already on the team, and then this week I drafted Merab Dvalishvili, Amanda Lemos, Oban Elliott, and of course Triple C, while Sean drafted Ilya Taporia, Robert Whitaker, Ming Yang Zhang Gang himself in the flesh, and Anthony Hernandez, but he already had Rinya Nakamura, Roman Kopylov, and Alexander Volkanovski. Okay, hear me out here. Would you entertain a trade for Ian Gary, for Rinya Nakamura, and Roman Kopylov?
I can't believe you even would say something like that. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. I'll do it for Kopylov only.
All right. Well,
you want to go ridiculous? I'll go ridiculous.
It was awesome being back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited for what holds in the future. We won't ever be this late again, right, Sean?
Absolutely.
But with all that things being said, I just got to say right before we wrap it up, beautiful but naked, big titty, bantamweights just don't fall out the sky, you know. Because I've been searching high and low. And I'm going to say it one more time. Beautiful, big titty, but naked, bantamweights just don't fall out the sky, you know. And just like that, we will catch you all next week. Peace.